What is up, guys, and welcome to ASL Week 11 Power Rankings for Season 6. I am, of course, Ian, and once again, I am joined with Milan.
Hey guys, how are you all doing? Let's go! We are here with the rankings. Season is almost over, so we have a couple of rankings to go. But yeah, let's enjoy the last moments we can rank together, Ian.
Yes, indeed. I don't want
Oh,
to. I don't want this to come to
what?
an end or anything. But I'm
Yeah,
sure
me neither.
coaches like White Ferret probably looking forward to their season coming to a conclusion and getting that reset. Because White Ferret currently a 1-10 team, not a good look, obviously. Uh, this is how power rankings go. It's always going to be ragging on the bottom guy, and I am sick of doing that. That's something that I do look forward to not having to do too much of anymore. But he's 1-10. What positive can we really be saying every week? It's hard. It's very difficult. Of course, this game was pretty close. It came down to the Calm Mind War versus TCP, which is pretty impressive to get it that close. But in the end, he didn't have a win condition at the end there. So, he lost once again, and it just keeps on happening. And it's so sad to watch. What are your thoughts on it?
Pretty much the same. Um, see him having a similar run to Blake last season with only one win as of right now. I think he knows what the reason is, and I think the issue mostly relies on the theme. The team really served him what he anticipated it. He wanted a bulky draft with good offensive Pokemon, but yeah, he ended up with a bulky team, which was just bulky with no behind it, and yeah, it really shows. So too bad for him because he did get a lot of experience with battling other coaches here, and I think he battled pretty well in them. Overall, held him back, getting more wins, and yeah, he finishes the season with probably a pretty bad outcome, but nothing lost because next season he will turn up probably. So at number 13, we have the other training center guy. At least I have Brad with the Seattle Tokunomarus. He is also not doing the best. Unfortunately, he lost to Hodge this week. What I did like though was the Gliscor set with the X Scissor catching the Latios. That was pretty cool to see. Brad is definitely capable of the nice prep tags. But yeah, overall, short more often than not. And yeah, that's what is best. At number 13, you have the London Loudreds. Please explain.
Yeah, this is their first week coming into it, and they did end up losing to Vish 3-0. They got pretty much destroyed by Zygarde 10%, if I recall correctly. So wasn't a great showing for their first game of the league overall. And obviously, when you just come into the league, you're looking to prove yourself. And if you haven't gotten the opportunity to do so, then you're going to be down lower than the other coaches who have more accolades to their name. And that's kind of the same reason why I've got Cody down at number 12 to kind of jump down. He also ended up losing his first game up against Dave, who did similar things with the Infernate, but Cody was able to bring it a fair bit closer, and Cody obviously has a very storied history of being known as one of the better coaches who have played in this league, going 7-0 before dropping out last season. Um, but once again, losing first game, that's not gonna get you moved up at all. So yeah, the coaches with the higher accolades, more accolades, are gonna definitely outplace them this time. Just that Ferret has not got those accolades to really justify being above them.
Yeah, pretty much the same. Yeah, I have at number 12. I have the London Loudreds with Thunder Flight. Yeah, he played versus Fish. I think it was a pretty close game, to be honest. But then in the end, definitely was the nice Zygarde set that came through. It was on a roll, I think. Something in the end game, went fortunate for Fish and for Thunder. But yeah, overall in the game, I think Yelmer was just ahead a bit too much for him to actually get out that win in the end. But impressed with the play of him. But yeah, um, statistically, he is not doing very well. It also is his first game, but like the team he took over also didn't perform that well. So he is at the bottom for me as of right now. For Cody, who basically is only one differential point higher than the other London team, that's why I put him above the London Loud Reds. Also, I think in the game between Cody and Dave, I think Cody was actually ahead the entire game until Infernape came in. Infernape actually went ham versus the draft, and yeah, there was nothing Cody could actually do versus that particular set. It was a very good set on Dave's part, and yeah, Cody had to bite the dust. For 11, you have this yellow token tomorrow. Please explain to us why.
Obviously, they're not doing exactly super great right now. They did lose to Hunch, like you said. Um, and they just weren't able to get enough things started this game or this season really. But they do have 3 wins to their name. Brett hasn't just completely washed this season. He's taken some fairly decent names off of some better players. And yeah, he just does have those accolades that do get him up there. But he definitely is looking like the worst. Well, I guess he's the only remaining 3-win coach, if I'm not mistaken. So that's just going to keep you on the bottom page. Unfortunately, he's been on the bottom page pretty much all season, moving up to the second page here and there, but hasn't really been able to have that breakout performance that really gets him up there, unfortunately for him. But at number 10, we both have TJ, um, who lost to Brad. You can lead off discussion there.
Well, TJD faced off versus Brad, and I think the reason what I this about this game is that it was pretty going back and forth until there was one turning point in the game where a critical hit happened. So Hex is annoying, and it can definitely screw over a team plan in that sense. But TJ acted a bit unsportsmanship like, was pretty salty and saying he should have won the game, and I didn't really like that because in the end, Anderson clearly played his win cons a bit safer than he needed to just secure him the win because that's how Anderson plays. He doesn't care about differential at all. He just plays extremely safe to guarantee him the win. And TJ making comments about that, I didn't really like that. But overall, the game itself was pretty cool to see. Megagalay definitely pulled it back for TJ before it got crit. And then the Kieran Black in this game, it went really hot. It went really in this match. Why do you have him at this number?
Yeah, Kieran Black. Definitely very difficult Pokemon to deal with, especially for one of the bulkier types of teams. And TJ did bring out some good grab with the Darkinium, Kyurem, and stuff like that. Hax was unfortunate to see. I personally was not there to witness the Salt Brigade that happened. So yeah, that's wasn't something that I was privy to, but I still decided to place him down here just because really is out of character, out of what you would expect from Champion, and I'm sure he's sick of hearing it because I know he's very disappointed in himself anyway. But this is just uncharacteristic behavior as far as gameplay is concerned from last season Champion. Meanwhile, the coaches above him have been doing much better overall, at least for their skill level in particular. So that's kind of the main reason, even though his differential is just so much better than someone like Shadows. It still is definitely something to differentiate there on. Shadow, of course, has been slipping off. It's kind of looking like a repeat of last season with a 4-7 record right now. Um, if you remember last season, he had a really good run to get 4 wins and then just completely butchered the end season. And it's looking like he's doing that now again, unfortunately. It's really sad to see because he was playing really well early season, prepping really well. And of course, that is why I am rewarding him with the 9th spot. But, he's just completely lost all of that momentum, and it would be very fair to place him lower than he is currently, with just how much worse he has been playing most recently. But I'm not going to do that. I still think that Shadow deserves some props for his improved performance overall, so I'm going to give that to him here.
I definitely do think Shadow has improved as a player overall. He definitely showed that last season already, this season as well. He's also one of those coaches that goes in early season and then in the end he definitely loses the grip on the momentum and starts sliding away. That's what's happening this season as well. This week, I think overall he didn't have too much momentum. In the end game, he had a very cool set ball cup, which I liked, and he also spammed the air balloon item versus me because guard jump actually went in versus his draft. So we had double air balloon. So he definitely made it to so that I didn't like straight out sweep him with guard jump. He actually made me work for it really hard. So definitely props for him for doing that. But yeah, his prep and play wasn't on point this week, so I can't really place him any higher than next coach, and that is Anderson. Anderson actually did win this week. Anderson played TJ, like we said before. Is that Anderson is actually turning it up. I think he's on a 4-game win streak right now. 3-game or 3-game win streak right now, which is pretty impressive. Coming from a very team, he replaced a lower team, so most of the time it's very hard to give momentum to such a team. But he's actually he's making it work. And of course, he has his signature Pokemon being Reuniclus and Zapdos as well. But this week, especially, the Kyurem Black went in. Subset was very, very, very good versus TJ, and Anderson utilized it pretty well. Number 8.
Yeah, Anderson definitely has been the best coach out of the ones that are eliminated or pretty much eliminated. I'm not sure if Brad is like mathematically eliminated, but he's definitely as close to as possible. But he's been doing really well after his first loss of the season coming back in. He's hasn't lost a game since then, which is really solid. 3-game win streak, and not looking like he's slowing down. Definitely a favorite heading into the consolation bracket for sure, just with all this momentum that he's garnering up. Unfortunately, of course, he is pretty much out of playoff contention just because of how far the teams are ahead of him and just how few weeks there are left. Even if he were to win out, his differential is just too far behind to really catch up with anything, unfortunately. But very solid performance this season with a team that he had to take over overall. But coming up at number 7, we have Vish, who's completely turned this season around as well. 4-game win streak, currently still in playoff contention, very close at a 6-5 record. Only 1 game behind making it in. Of course, he isn't really in complete control of his destiny right now. Even if he does win out, he doesn't play any of the coaches that he can knock out, unless he can knock out Dave potentially. But he's really been stepping it up after making the changes. He's become a lot more comfortable with his team. He's been utilizing those Pokemon's offensive presence a lot better than he was before, getting a lot more sweeps in. So yeah, really solid play, really come into his own currently. Just a shame that he doesn't completely control his destiny.
he early season he didn't really do too well, and then he made some transactions, and they've really been working out for him. He's definitely pulling his stuff together and get a lot of victories as of late. He the most of the playoff teams have already been clinched or been very likely to make it, but for the few teams that aren't too sure, not Hutch. Vish is definitely smelling the playoffs. He's like, okay, there is one opportunity, and I'm definitely going for it. I'm going all in, and it's working out for him. He's definitely a lot of victories with the team that suits him a lot better. And this week was no different. He definitely utilized his offensive win cons very well, and he got a very nice victory with which differential boosted him quite a bit. He has two remaining battles, and both are versus current in playoffs teams. So if he can beat them both, he can potentially knock them down or knock them out of playoffs as a whole. So that's going to be something to look forward to. But yeah, great improvement on Vicious' part. Now moving on to the actual playoff teams. At number 6, we have the Chicago Congelders. Big Daddy Dave, definitely still the biggest fan of Big Daddy Dave because the name is just so nice and overall an amazing guy. But have to be serious. He is definitely he has been slacking as of late, even though he did pick up a victory this week. So that was cool to see. But yeah, compared to the other playoff coaches, he seems to be the weakest link as of right now. But that is compared to the other coaches. That doesn't take away from Dave's skill because this week he definitely fought a tough opponent, being Cody, who was historically being a big threat in the league. And Dave was like, no, I'm not losing to Cody. I am still in the playoff race and I am proving what I'm worth. And he definitely did. And Infernape was a big part of that. He brought a very cool set, ARP, and yeah, it just went in. Props to Dave for that set. And I'm looking forward to his next games because they are very important for him. And I know he will turn up. So yeah, that's why I have him at number 6. And you have him at number 6.
Yeah, I agree. Dave got a really nice win this week as well, for sure. That's definitely done a lot of good to stop his downwards momentum that he's been getting up. The main reason that I do have him lower is just that you got to reward Malone for his fantastic play this week. Definitely can't knock Dave. Biggest fan of him in the universe for sure. No one's a bigger Daddy Dave fan than me, personally, but I'm also a really big Malone fan, so unfortunately, got to knock him slightly down just for that. As much as I wanted to knock myself down to 6, I just couldn't. My ego would not let me. But we'll just go on to number 5 now. Malone did a really good job this week beating me with nice trick room, offensive mega slow bro, really solid prep, really solid bring overall. And he just played it really solidly to set up the win con correctly, like he did. He played the end game perfectly. No major mistakes outside of sacking the Kartana. But even that, you could argue, coming from a more consistent player, you could argue that the sack was the smart play to bring in the threats that he needed to. I don't think that's what was going through his head, but regardless, he was able to pull out the win. And he's just been on an absolute tear on a 5-game win streak, 7-4, best season he's had. And he's probably going to be in playoffs, assuming Fish doesn't turn up and he doesn't choke away the last couple of games. So yeah, really solid stuff from him. Good job to you.
Yeah, I actually super impressed by Malone. Like, known Malone for quite a while. Like, I think last season going in, his overall differential in ASL has been like minus 100 or something like that. Like, it was really bad. And then to see him doing so well this season with a draft that absolutely fits him most likely because he's doing so well with his offensive Pokemon, and it's Malone once is the kind of guy when he finally has some sort of momentum, he definitely can keep it together and clutch a lot of things. But more often than not, Malone didn't have momentum in the earlier seasons, but now he has actually momentum and he's actually proven what he's worth. Pretty amazing. He knocked down En, who was at that point the second seed overall. So beating that guy is very, very impressive. And yeah, I'm just a big fan of psychic types putting in work. So you already know Mega Slowbro with Trick Room. Big fan, big fan. And it was really nice to see that you also did your weekly Cortana sec like every week. So that was also nice to see. But yeah, moving on to number 4, we have the Aussie Kangaskans. And yeah, basically, it is a super, super tight race for the top playoff coaches for who gets the round bye. At that point, most likely to get the round bye, but he he lost to Malone this week, and that's why he automatically moves down to number 4. That's how it's sort of in a rotation that's going on. Like I was at number 2, then I at number 4, now I'm at number 3, and probably next week Hutch will be again at number 4. It's just a rotation going on right now, and we are fighting for that spot. But En this week, I think he wasn't too bad overall, but he was in control for the most part of the game. But in the end, the trick room was something I don't think he really prepped for, really play around it that good. So that was definitely unfortunate for En. But I still think he will definitely turn up in the later games this season and potentially still secure himself the round bye. We'll just have to see. So why do you have yourself at number 4, En?
Because I suck, dude. No, but for real,
Okay.
like you were saying, it basically is a rotation, because the race is really that tight. And everyone's pretty much sitting at the same wins. The only real difference is that I have more differential. But now I am a game behind the two of you, so I can't justify putting myself any higher naturally. And yeah, I've been getting upset lost fairly frequently this season. It's not my best showing, so I probably don't really deserve to get the bye this season anyway. So yeah, that's mainly why I've got myself here. But number 3, we do have Milan here, 8-3 if I'm not mistaken. Good win against Shadow. Great season so far. Done good job against the rest of the coaches. Pretty much the same things that all these top 4 coaches have been doing. Arguably the top 6 coaches have been doing. Just a really tight season, and Milan has been able to edge it out slightly above everyone else below him at this point in time.
Yeah, I put myself at number 3 spot, obviously, because my record is 1 win more than the coaches below me. The only coach who has the same as of right now has been turning it up with a big, big win streak and good differential. So I definitely want to reward that, putting him above myself. However, I do think in the game versus Shadow, I was in control for almost the entirety of the game. In the end game, it went a little bit shaky because he caught me off guard with double air balloon and bulk observer aura. But I played my win cons so the way I couldn't lose to them, and I think that's some consistency in good preparation on my end, and that's definitely good for me because that's making sure that I can guarantee myself a good chance to get a round bye. The top 2 coaches as of this point, we have Hutch with the Portland Timbers, and Hutch, I think, an absolute tear this season. He has quietly been in the shadows with his wins. They can't go unnoticed anymore because he has this 5-game win streak, if I recall correctly, and Hutch is definitely pulling up. He has been using Megalopony and Latias so well. And like I said, in this week, he did lose his Latias to a surprise tag as the X-Scissor from Gliscor. But yeah, in the end, you can only knock down one of his big threats, but the other one will screw you over. And Megalopoli definitely did screw over Brett this week in and absolutely destroyed everything. So like, good shit on Hutch. He can definitely use his offensive win cons very well. Like even in the top 10 kill leaders, I think both of them are in top 5. So that's super impressive. And yeah, overall, he's been doing very, very well. Why do you have him at number 2, Ian?
Yeah, Hutch's win streak is definitely what's pushing him above everyone else. He's shown the most consistency, most recently out of the playoff coaches outside of maybe Malone. And that could be attributed to the fact that his schedule, most of his hard games were earlier in the season. But that's really semantics at this point. It's definitely shown that that win streak does push him just a bit above you, as well as having ever so slightly better differential as well. So this is looking like it may just be the season where Hutch finally gets his bye performance. I'm sure he's really going to put his all into ensuring that he does get that in the last 2 weeks. So we'll just have to see how that goes. But number 1, we've got TCP. He's really closing in on that undefeated season, closing in on beating my best record of 12-1. And if he wins next week as well, it's just getting closer and closer, harder and harder for me to watch. It's just the suspense is killing me, man. All jokes aside, though, really good stuff to have such a great performance this week. Kind of questionable play on this specific week, though. I'm just letting it get to the point where it would be a calm mind war like it did. Kind of set up a lot of risks that could have happened, assuming you got crit on a bad turn, stuff like that, especially considering you lost that battle 1v1 anyway. But outside of that, like minor questionable play this season has just been so consistent, so not really all that much to say or knock him on.
At TCP, definitely the king of the win streak. He has, I think, a 10-game win streak as of right now. 10 or 11 game win streak. And yeah, he's just been unbeatable. Like, he's been doing super, super well. This week especially, it was a tough matchup for TCP because he faced his he faced his mentee from the training center. So he definitely wanted to impress him, but also not insult him with a 6-0 or something. So it was a pretty tough spot for TCP, I think. So, but in the end, even though it was a calm mind war, he still had that Ditto to copy the stat, or even the Darmanitan to just nuke the Sylveon. So I think he will be good either way. But yeah, TCP definitely still the undefeated king as of right now, and it is very, very likely that he isn't going to lose this season at all. So he can make a flawless season. I will definitely and give it to him because he's been super consistent as of right now. But just have to see ASL. Everything can happen each week. So yeah, I think that wraps it up. At EN.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, subscribe to all of our YouTube channels, and stay tuned for next week. If I am not mistaken, there should be some playoff implications coming out soon. Might be wrong on that. Crucify me.
They're not. They're not going to come out playoff implications.
So sorry for getting all your hopes up, fans. That's my bad. Blame me. But yeah, that's beside the point. You should still check it out. Still keep up to date with the next power rankings. This will basically serve as playoff implications anyway, let's be honest. So yeah, see you next time.
See you next time, guys. Thank you for watching.